I'm like, what's the dream of? What's the hope in? What's the doubt for? Live to no end. This is living. The life I've been given is a gift. If I'm a living, I'ma live it to death. So what's the dream of? What's the hope in? What's the doubt for? And live to no end. This is living. The life I've been given is a gift. If I'm a living, I'ma live it to death. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? My name's Jamie Cheerio. I'm sitting here with Jon Beougher and Mike Curry, and super excited to be able to just be here today and talk a little bit about Jon's background. Brand new agent, came over here from the roofing sales world, huge background in door-to-door sales, and really today we want to touch just a little bit on his background, some of the things he's learned here, and just why anybody who's been in that door-knocking space, why Family First Life could really be the place for them and the home that they can really find. So, Jon, thanks for being here, man. Excited to have you. Where is it that you're from?
Oh, thanks for having me, Jamie. So I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, Columbus, Ohio, man. And how long have you been in the sales world? What kind of stuff have you done? Just give us your background, a little bit about you, and just kind of happy to have you here, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. So I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I've been on and off in sales for years. I have a wife, daughter, 8-year-old daughter, actually expecting a son on the way coming July. So super excited. Family's growing. But yeah, I started in sales probably about 9 years ago. Did some network marketing prior to that even. But started with door-to-door sales, worked with an AT&T U-verse campaign where basically we were given leads, about a set of 30 leads, and we go through knock a neighborhood, talk to people about switching over their TV, internet, phone service. And that's really where I cut my teeth in on talking to cold leads face-to-face and explaining a process or idea. Most recently, I was working in the roofing industry, roofing sales, same thing, door knocking, cold leads, offering free inspections on their property due to storms that came through, and then helping them work through the insurance claims process if the property was damaged to have their roof actually paid for and replaced, and then our company would do the work. So that's what I've been doing recently before coming over here.
Okay, that's awesome, man. And what was it about Family First Life? Because you came from a pretty good deal. I mean, you were comfortable, and you were really, really good at what you did. You're starting to build out different teams, and there's definitely a long-term picture for that industry that you were in, and that was something you were really bought into. What was it about what you saw with Family First Life that pushed you over the edge? How'd you kind of hear about it?
Yeah, so, in roofing, I worked with a great company in the Columbus, Ohio area. Really enjoyed what I was doing and had some success there my first couple of years. Long term, though, I was looking for something that I could really own myself, build at my own pace, and be able to grow and develop from anywhere. So I had some great opportunities with that company to go and actually take a bigger position, actually run a branch, run a group of sales team or sales members in a couple different markets that would have required moving. And my wife and I had recently gotten married and had a long conversation about it. We didn't want to move to a new area away from family. And so I was like, let's keep our options open here and look for something that maybe checks these boxes that we don't currently have checked. And that's when I, was following you actually on social media for a number of years. Zach Babiar's, him and I go back a few years and just saw what you guys were doing and was curious, what's this insurance thing about? Saw that you guys were excited about what you were doing. There seemed to be a lot of momentum there. And so I reached out to Zach and started just asking some questions. What's this business look like? What's the model look like? What does it take to be successful here? What's it take to get involved in the industry? And I just started asking questions, and I liked the answers I was getting.
I love it, man. And then you got connected with Mike over here, and Mike, he's obviously out in like the Charlotte, North Carolina area, more on the South Carolina side of the border. So Mike, what's it been like so far working with Jon? What are the things that you've kind of noticed, and what's something that you've noticed about Jon that's helped him find success here as he's gotten started quickly?
Yeah, dude. And Jon's been extremely all in, coachable. And, from the time we met at the launch conference, he was, he asks the right questions. He prepares, he goes, and he's actually building a business here. And he was sending me some stuff the other week. He's tracking every detail of everything. And him and his wife, they're going to be working together. And I think that he reaches out. He works really hard. He's extremely, extremely coachable. And, when you're looking for new agents to work with, I'm just going to tell them to duplicate what Jon did, because at the end of the day, like you're everything that someone wants to be when they come here. So I've really appreciated that about you.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
That's awesome. So let's talk about leads, because when you were in your previous business, door knocking, did you have any leads?
So the way that worked is, about 80 to 90% of my business was cold lead generated.
So walk into a random neighborhood and start knocking on doors?
Yeah, so the way that worked, in the roofing industry, we're really waiting for a storm to come through. Big storm comes through. Hey, we got 50 mile an hour, 60 mile an hour winds. That's enough to do potential damage. So we're watching weather patterns, and then we're jumping into those areas, canvassing neighborhoods. We would actually have canvassing teams that would go and actually try to set some appointments for us sometimes. But oftentimes it was just us going into a neighborhood, knocking on doors, saying, hey, that storm that came through last night, woke me up to wake you up. That storm actually damaged John and Mary's house down the street. We wanted to make sure that your property wasn't affected by that, so we're offering free inspections. Make sure you weren't affected, and if you are, we can actually walk you through the insurance claims process and get that property paid for and replaced with a roof. So let's make sure you're taken care of with that free inspection.
And what's been the major difference that you've seen between that and working leads, people who have requested information about the insurance?
Well, I love that we get to purchase leads here. When I found out that's kind of how the model was built here at Family First Life, I was like, so you're telling me I get to kind of determine how much business I want to write by how much interest I buy, being leads. And so when I realized that's the way it worked, I was like, well, this is brilliant. Like I'm used to working cold leads, turning somebody that doesn't know me, doesn't know my business, doesn't know why I'm at their door, into a potential client. Whereas here I get to call somebody. You filled out the information. You asked for the information. I'm just here to get you what you asked for already. And that shift to me was really, really exciting. And I love that idea, because I get to be in control of how much business I write based off how much leads I purchase.
That's awesome, man. Talk to us a little bit about what that first week looked like, plugging into live dials, learning from Mike, learning from Zach, learning from all the different people on the team. What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so actually, before we get to the first week, I want to kind of just talk about the run-up to that, because,
please, yeah.
For me, I'm not somebody that just jumps ship quickly.
Yeah.
So I really looked into Family First Life for a bit before making the move. Loved what I saw, and when I decided to make the decision to move over, that's when I started digging deep into, okay, how do you guys do what you do? How are you running a successful business day to day? So I tried to prepare myself as much as I could ahead of time by just diving into the podcasts like we're doing now, seeing what successful teams and agents were doing, and then trying to take bits of that and applying that to my business. But that first week, I remember that first dial day, we actually launched out of convention in Miami, came back from that Monday after convention was my first dial day. And I remember after watching all the podcasts, seeing what you guys were talking about with other agents, the importance of live dials. I said, well, I have to be on live dials. That seems to be non-negotiable. So started on live dials, actually did my first call, my first pickup on live dials. And I was like, hey, I'm going to throw myself into this. And, no matter how it works out, it's going to be better for me.
Absolutely. Mike, talk to us a little bit about, just for anybody out here who's wondering maybe what Live Dials is, what that community is that we've created, and just the value that you see in people plugging into either a physical office and dialing live or joining one of our Zoom rooms. Kind of what is that? What's the value that you see behind it?
Yeah, for sure. So Live Dials is a Zoom link that we have with Living Hope. A lot of other teams do it as well, but we're able to have some breakout rooms. So there's people doing telesales, actually dialing for appointments, 2 different separate rooms, and then also some script practice or coaching. So what I find, the people that get on Live Dials unmute and are actually active on dial day, their success, just like Jon, skyrockets, right? Because you're on there with people like, your first day, and Jamie's on there, I'm on there, Zach, plenty of people are on there who've been dialing. And, when you get on there and unmute yourself, right, it's a judgment-free zone, but you're unmuting yourself, putting yourself out there to get better. And we could actually coach you on a real live dial versus you calling us and running through your script with, whatever objections we want to put. So live to me, when I first started, this, like, that was literally, it keeps you in this business early on when you're not good at dialing the phones, because you think you're saying something a certain way and you're not, and someone else can pull that out of you, right? And it's also like there's things that you can say that pulls out people responding differently. So live dials is absolutely, in my opinion, critical to being successful here. And the sooner that you get on, turn your mic on, and unmute and turn your camera on, I mean, the faster you'll have results. So to me, it's huge.
Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer.
I mean, whether you're coming from a sales background or you're not coming from any sales background whatsoever, the goal is to get good quickly, because if you're in commission-based sales and you're not making sales quickly, you're going to be out of business. I don't care what industry it is, whether you have leads or you don't have leads, you're door knocking or you're calling leads that have raised their hand saying, hey, give me the information. If you're not making sales, you're out of business. We got to pay our bills. We got to make sure we got our phone payment done. We got to make sure our rent's paid, light bill, car payment. If we're not helping families as quickly as possible, we're not going to be here for more than a couple of weeks. So it's just so important that we get new agents started fast. And every company has their way that they get new agents started. When it comes to the canvassing and the door knocking community, what do? Hey, John, let's go get in the car. Let's go out to the neighborhood together. I'm going to knock on some doors. You're going to watch me. Okay, I'm going to knock on the doors. You watch me. And then you're going to knock on some doors, and I'm going to watch you. And then you're going to do it on your own. And the exact same thing with live dials. This is our version of doing that, because dialing the phone is the key to our business. And for anybody here who's watching this, just understand that we're buying leads of people who are raising their hand saying, hey, I'm interested in some form of insurance information to take care of final expenses, burial, cremation, leave some money behind for my family, pay off debts. We're calling them, telling them who we are, why we're calling, how the process is going to work, setting an appointment, tying it down. And at that point, we're either taking care of them in person or we're taking care of them over the phone or Zoom. So it's a really, really simple process that we have here. But I think the thing that I really want to touch on, I think this will be kind of powerful for us to move into, is we're sitting down with people who want the information. There's no, hey, let me convince you why you need this. They've already raised their hand and said, I need this. My job's to take their order, facilitate their request, and help them out with something that they were already looking for. From the roofing industry, fantastic industry, but it's dependent on, was there a storm? And was there something that happened that would give me a reason to go start knocking on doors and canvassing neighborhoods? And what if there's no storms? If there's no storms, I mean, that seems like it can be pretty seasonal. And I'm sure there's a season of the year where there's more storms and there's less storms. So, to be able to have leads means you're able to have consistency. You're able to consistently help families, therefore consistently help your family. So, John, I mean, what's just the thing that you've seen here? You talked about the ability to be able to buy leads and kind of determine just off of the leads how many families that you want to help. You're deciding how many families that you want to help. I mean, what's the difference that you've seen there in comparison to not just the roofing industry, because there's the solar industry, there's the cable internet industry, there's just the door knocking industry in general. Like, what is the difference you've seen just from working leads to that business there, and why somebody over there should take a look here?
Well, like I said earlier, I mean, it's really, you're buying interest. Whereas door knocking, you have to generate interest. Mm-hmm. And it's a very important distinction. When you're dealing with a cold lead, you have to generate the interest. And then if the interest is there, then you have to facilitate that interest. Whereas here, you're buying leads through the CRM. I'm going to get 120 leads for today. It's 120 people that were interested in what I have to offer. And now I get to go help facilitate and fill those orders, per se, and give them what they have requested by asking questions, finding out what specifically their needs are, and then helping fill those needs with one of our great carriers that we work with here at Family First Life. So I love that I can basically turn it on and turn it up however I want, based off, well, how do I want my week to go? Well, that starts with how many leads I buy, how much I work those leads on my dial day, and that translates out to, how my run day is going to go after that.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, man. So if you're watching this right now and you're in the door knocking space, what would be your message to that person coming here to look? Because we have people come from car sales, people coming from real estate, people coming from other insurance companies, people coming from no sales background whatsoever.
Yeah.
If we're talking directly to that person, and they were taking a look here, what would be the main couple things that you would share with them to get them to kind of take that leap of faith and come take a look?
Yeah, I think some of the great things about this industry is it's really flexible. I love that Family First Life, and more so recently, is really building out a great strategy for working this business in the field and also working this business virtually. So you have options there. Long term, you get to own your book of business. That's huge. Where I came from, I got paid one time based off of that sale, and that was done. That was done. There was no residuals coming back, and so long term, you have integrity here. There's a running path and an end goal here. That's fantastic. You can run it from anywhere. You don't have to be tied down to any one specific location, and that was really big for me because with my family and our goals in life, I wanted to have some flexibility to be able to move around, but still build a business that wasn't tied down to one location. And that for me was one of the big deciding factors of me coming over here, is having that type of freedom to say, hey, if my family wants to pick up and move, and I'm already building a business and building a team, I can do that and still facilitate helping that team grow, and not be strapped down to one brick and mortar, location. And that's big.
Absolutely. So I want to make sure we touch on, John, you came into the business and you started pretty quick. I believe you were able to help 11 families in your first week in the field, which is that's an incredible thing. You definitely picked this up and you figured it out quick. Teachability, coachability, I mean, those are the things that myself and Mike noticed that John had right off the bat. He said, hey, tell me exactly what to do. You guys have done it. You guys have already helped, hundreds and hundreds of families. Just tell me exactly what to do, and I'm going to go to work. And if you're here looking at this, you got to be teachable. If you're, a lot of the things that from previous sales backgrounds, they can help, but they can also hurt, okay? Because you're trying to say, this is what we used to do at my old company. This is what we used to do over here. Well, hey, you're not working on an industry anymore. This is a totally different industry. It's not to say that those skills can't help you here. They absolutely can. But sometimes they can hurt you. Sometimes you have to unlearn what you know and relearn this system here, because fancy sales presentations, that's just not us. I mean, Mike, have you ever given a fancy presentation before?
There's nothing that I do that's fancy.
The first thing that I say when I walk into a home is, hey, Mary, no fancy presentations. And I literally throw my hands up, and it's like their shoulders drop, because it's like you're the order taker. At the end of the day, it's, hey, I'm here to facilitate your request. I'm here to ask you a couple basic questions, 2 minutes on your health, 2 minutes on your finance. Based on how you answer, I'm going to make a recommendation for you on, one of these 40 carriers, on which one I think is going to be the right fit for you, show you a couple options. If we see something that makes sense, we're going to pick one, and then we're going to submit a request for coverage to see if you can qualify. Sound good? Okay, perfect. Here's the first question. It's so simple. I'm not drawing out illustrations and charts and explaining the background of life insurance and term versus whole life and all these different things. It's, so you filled out the request for this reason, right? Yes. Okay, here's what we're going to do today. Perfect. All right. It's so simple. I mean, what have you noticed, John, just in regards to the simplicity when you have someone that the assumption is there, that the interest is there, how much simpler you can make the presentation?
Yeah, I mean, I go into a house when I'm sitting down with a potential client, and you've already told me you want life insurance. So all my job is to find out what type it is and to help you put in that request.
Yeah, just don't screw it up.
Don't screw it up. And that's really it. I'm going to come in. I'm going to ask some questions. We're going to go through a few health questions, a few financial questions, and find something that A, fits your budget. B, fits your need for what you're looking for, and C is something, and most importantly, something you can qualify for. And if I can do all those three things, we're going to put in a request for coverage and get you covered today.
So let's move into this. So Mike, we've talked a little bit about sales. You can make an incredible living here selling insurance. Talk to us a little bit about the opportunity here to build a team, what that looks like, and just the value behind why you would build a team. And then we can kind of get into some of John's goals here.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, I mean, for me, when I first got here, the selling was cool because you could go out and you could help families while also taking care of your own, right? So that was the first priority. The second priority was I like helping people, and I was never good at the network marketing back in the day. But one thing that really attracted me was working with a family of people that I can dig into their life, get to know you, and build a team. and a culture around that. And to me, you know, Family First Life gives someone like myself the opportunity to build an actual real business with no business experience. The structure's here. I don't know if it was Sean the other day, but somebody said it's almost like you can franchise without actually paying all that money to franchise. You literally can come here, work really hard, earn a logo by helping a specific amount of families with a team, and then you start to build some overrides, the bonus here, right? And then what you do is you turn around and you help the guys like Jon that want to actually build and grow. And there's so many people out there that love helping families and people in general. And, I don't know of a better place, a better, industry where you can actually serve people and know, especially in a sales background, right?
Yeah.
Like where you can actually put somebody in a really powerful position. And I've had death claims, you've had death claims, you will have a death claim. And, selling a car, selling a house, all those things are great. But the value that life insurance brings to a family and the fact that you can build and leverage a business off of that, like that's powerful. It gives me chills just talking about it. Like It's extremely powerful, like doing the right thing and building a powerful business. And I just love the culture here, the industry, and, just what we're doing at FFL, with agents.
Yeah, and if you're building a sales team somewhere else, take a look here because I've built sales teams elsewhere. Jon's built sales teams elsewhere. And at the end of the day, the typical structure is you typically have a manager somewhere who started in the field, did really well, found their way into management, and there's some form of a commission, override, a percentage where the manager's making a lot of money on work they didn't really do. That's what happens. And of course, there's overrides in the insurance business. The culture here at Family First Life, we take really, really small spreads and we put as much money as possible back into the agents. The agents get paid the most for doing the work. At the end of the day, I'm not going to get paid more than Jon gets paid when he did all the work and he sold the policy. That happens in so many other industries. And you have these managers that just get up to the top and they did the work 5-10 years ago and now they're telling you to do the work now, and then they take the big spread on top. What I love about here is that the new agent can be successful regardless of how the manager's doing. The new agent can come and they can take care of their family. And it's cool to be in an industry where in order for me to win as a manager, I have to help new agents win. I have to help new agents survive in this business. So, Jon, just to kind of close this thing out, talk to us about your goals to build a team, maybe who you're looking for, and just kind of where you see this going.
Yeah, so myself, along with my wife, Carly, when we came into this, and she actually just recently got licensed as well. So we're going to be working together to build an agency. We're really excited to work with folks that are hungry, people that, come from sales, maybe don't come from sales, a sales background, come from the door-to-door space, real estate, roofing, whatever it may be. But people that are hungry and want something that they can build for themselves, I'm excited to be partnered with this company and helping facilitate their personal growth and getting them where they want to go. And this is such a great vehicle to do that. I couldn't be more excited to be building a business here in this place because it's fertile ground. Like it's real fertile ground. This year I want to hit Hall of Fame. Definitely working towards that.
And the Hall of Fame is 400 families helped in a calendar year. 400
families helped in a calendar year. So that is my goal year one, running towards that. So month to month, making sure that I'm on track to do that, adjusting things as needed. As an agency, we want to hire, 50, 60 agents by the end of the year. So we're looking to aggressively expand and help facilitate other people's growth that want to come into this industry and see what it's all about for themselves.
It's awesome, man. One final piece of advice to anybody out there who's looking to, get started with Family First Life. What would be your one piece of advice to get started fast?
Be teachable, be coachable. Check your ego at the door. You might be really good at what you did previously, but you're new here. When you start here, look to the people that have what you want. When I started, I was looking at Jamie, I was looking at Mike, I was looking at Zach Babiar's. Andrew Taylor, Grady, all the people that have run before me and saying, okay, what did they do in the beginning to get them where they are now? And how does that translate to me doing what I need to do? Be teachable, be coachable. And most importantly, I think you just got to do the work. You can't rely on talent. And Zach and I talked about this, oftentimes you can get good at something and you can stop working hard and start resting on talent. And that's a dangerous place to be. No matter how good you get, always be willing to put in the work. Always be willing to put in the reps, because ultimately that's what's going to propel you in your business and the people that you're bringing with you forward.
I love it, man. Well, hey, thank you guys so much for coming in, and we'll see y'all next time.